Hi, it's Karen, the Weekend Craftaholic, and today I wanted to show you different ways to cover any notebook you may have. Now I use these pocket page notebooks, very similar size to Traveller's notebook inserts, and they do a smaller 6x4 as well, that's recently come out. The reason I love these is that as well as having the paper inserts, there's little pockets as well where you can put little things in there like souvenirs or tickets, that kind of thing. I've also made a few of my own using pattern paper, as you can see here, and if you're making your own you can do them whatever size you want. Like this is a bigger one, which is just a A4 sheet cut in half. Like I say, I love these books. The only thing is the covers of them. So whilst I was sat there thinking how best to decorate them, I came up with a list of 17 different ways, can you believe? And I decided I would share my top 5 with you, top 5 favourite ways of covering these. So the first way is by using fabric. So you might have some fabric scraps lying around if you're also into sewing as I am, or you can buy these bundles from any craft store. This is from Spotlight. You get fat quarters, that kind of stuff. There's so many gorgeous fabric designs out there now to choose from. You know, why would you limit yourself just to paper? So you can see some of these are really cute. I like the effect as well of having a different texture on the cover of the books. And it's so simple to do. So all I'm doing here is roughly measuring out the size that I need, iron over that, give it a good iron to get rid of all your creases, and I'm just using a sparkle Mod Podge that I'm going to cover it with. So once you've got your size cut out, just checking it there for size, and you can see that's right. I'm going to first of all use tape runner just to secure into place while we cover it in the Mod Podge. So you don't need an awful lot of this, it's only a placeholder really. It's not going to be keeping the fabric secure for any length of time. And I'm obviously going to do both sides on this. Now I'm pulling the fabric pretty tight because I want to make sure it doesn't go baggy and it's got a nice tightness around the spine of that. And then that should be enough to hold it until we start to glue this in place. Now what I'm going to do now is just actually snip the corners off. Now what I should have done is snipped both sides to take away that little top square if you like. But I do that later on, as you'll see in the video. This really was just to make sure I could see where my seams were. Doesn't really matter too much about when you do it. It's easy enough to cut after you've put the Mod Podge on as well if you wanted to do it later. But you can see here I'm going to apply this pretty liberally. It dries clear, so you don't need to worry about seeing the whites now, and obviously you only really want to paint it on over the book, not over the selvages as well. And I'm doing a really good coat of this because I want this to be nice and hard. You can see some little splodges there, but don't worry, they dry up, you don't see those at all. And this particular Mod Podge, like I said, it's a sparkle one, so it's got a really nice finish on this as well. Now I'm doing the back side of this. I'm using a craft mat, so I can let this glue dry and it scrapes off pretty easy, but you might want to be careful if you don't have one of these crafts mat. I wouldn't put this on a cutting mat, for example, it will leave a mark. So I would just think about how you're going to protect your work surface before you get messy with this Mod Podge. It does dry pretty quickly, probably about 20 minutes over here, and you can see that bit of a sparkle there at the top. And you can see now that I'm cutting out the corners as well now for this book. So if you're impatient like me, you could dry it quick with a heat gun or a hairdryer. I'm just going to cut the centres here as well, just to make it easier to fold in where the inserts of the book are. And as you can see, it just simply then folds down, and then we're going to glue that in place with the Mod Podge. Now I'm not going to use the sparkle Mod Podge on the inside, I'll just use a plain one. And what I've done here is I've cut away some of that excess fabric, although you'll notice in a while I've gone a little bit crazy and cut away way too much. But you'll see it won't be a problem. It's pretty forgiving when you use Mod Podge because it is super sticky, just needs a few seconds to be held down and it does stay in place. So here I am now going to adhere that to the back with this. I'm making a bit of a mess as I go. And then I decide I should really do it on my craft mat. And then, like I say, once you've painted it, just hold it down for a few seconds and you'll be able to feel just how secure that is as well. It doesn't take long at all. Pretty simple and easy to do. Now, if you're worried about the insides of this looking a mess, You can, if you've got another piece of fabric, put the fabric on the inside as well. Because this is patterned, I chose not to do that. I'm going to cover mine just with a full sheet of plain cardstock. So I won't actually see much of the edges of these anyway. So have a think about how you're going to do this. The only thing I would not recommend is washi tape, because that does come away over time. And that's why I like this Mod Podge so much, because you know that once you've put this in place, and you can see even though I've got a tiny bit of an edge there, it still keeps it in place for me. And that's it, we're almost done. I think this is a really effective way of doing it, gives a professional finish, obviously a personalised way as well. And yeah, it doesn't take too long. I think it would be a great present for someone to receive something like this. So that's my first tip, the using fabric. And you can see even when I rub the glitter over my hands, it doesn't come away. So the second way is using washi tape. Now, if you've seen my hits and misses of 2018, you'll see I am not a fan of washi tape. I started collecting it in rolls and rolls and never really found an opportunity to use it. But I was actually decorating this pocket page notebook for my 2019 One Little Word project when I had the idea of actually recording this video. So I've already done the front side. Because it's going to be in a traveller notebook, I do want to do the back side of it as well, because you do get to see that. And you will see now just how quick and simple it is to do this. Now, I've obviously chosen vertical stripes. You can put your washi tape any direction you like, but what I would say is over the spine, just make sure you've got a full piece of washi. I wouldn't end the washi at the spine. You can see what I'm doing now is actually just laying out strips of that washi. It's really quick and easy to do, and as you know, washi tape is again also very forgiving. If you don't like the placement of it, you can easily lift it back up and move it. If you get some little bubbles or creases, they're so easy to also rub out. So you do get quite an effective finish. I've just gone for some muted colours. I think choosing the colour palette, it takes longer than actually applying this. But I like the way the different thicknesses of the washi come through, so I would recommend trying to show different thicknesses and widths. If all your washi tape's the same size, you can overlap it. That works just as well. I've done that on the front to try and fit everything in. And you can see here now, this is the wider one that I use, and this is my favourite one. And it does cover quite a lot in one hit. I'm just trimming away really loosely for now. I'll go back and do a neater cut at the end once it's finished. Just makes it a bit easier to take away the excess now. And you can see just how quick and effective this is to do. So I'm just measuring out there to see and get a sense of where I'm going to finish at, because I could have finished at the edge and then put another one in, but I do want another strip of the black right towards the edge, and I've just about got enough space if I overlap it a little bit. And there you go. Apart from a quick trim at the top and the bottom, that's the book completely covered. Again, I think it'd be a nice gift for someone. Very quick and easy to do. I think this probably took 10 minutes in total. Like I say, choosing the colours probably the more time consuming part of it, and deciding which order. But I would say just go for it. Don't try and be too organised with your patterns. It looks so much better when it's just randomised. I think it gives you a really nice effect. And you can see I've added some alphas on the front of that as well. Now my third one, which is a bit of a fail, but I decided to include it anyway, was this stenciling. So I got this Gesso from Spotlight. I wanted to give this a go of mixing it with some acrylic paint, and I've just used the stencil just to smear down. I really wanted a textured feel to the front of this book. That's certainly what I got. The texture I do really like, and I just masked off with some washi tape here to make sure that I had an even edge around the front of the book. So they've got the same kind of margin, if you like. So you can see there I do get that effect, and I do like this finished look. It took probably nearly an hour to dry, but I think I ruined it putting a grey edge in, and then I tried to spray it with the Kaiser mist, and it kind of, yeah, didn't quite come off the way I expected it to. But moving on to my fourth option is ink blending. Now I'm really impressed with how this turned out. I I'm new to distress inks, not very good at actually applying them on paper, on cards, but I really like the way that this came out. So I'm just applying some washi tape now just to create some diagonal lines. I'm just eyeballing that. Apologies for the shaky table, it does stop. And I'm just picking a colour now. Like I say, I'm not very good at ink blending. If you're like me, a bit of a beginner with this, and I'd maybe practice on some cardstock or paper first to see if the finished effect is really what you're looking for. I'm really pleased with this. It came out better than I expected, actually. I think because it's not so severe with acrylic paints, it's more muted. I think the effect is really nice and subtle. And once you take that masking tape away, you see as well, I probably could have just left it as it was, and I would have been more than happy with that effect. But I decided I'm going to do a few more colours, just because I was enjoying the process more than anything. And now I've decided to add a bit of blue to that pink. And the secret obviously is just that rounded motion, but it's certainly not as easy as it looks. You can see I've not got my blending too good, but I like it. I like the effect that it comes out as. If you like the geometric shapes, you could always do your diagonal lines different ways. And I was going to leave that little bit open, but then I decided to add some green colour to this as well, just to finish it off. And you can see just how quick and easy this is, although it is very messy, as you can see. I've got it all over me. And I'd say this probably took 10 minutes to do. I've obviously only done the front at this stage, but I do really like that effect. And then what I've done, just to finish it off, I have actually because this is a book for my son, I've just applied some alphas at the front with his name on it. And my last effect that I'm going to show you is using die cuts. Now I realised when I was doing this that my camera had died, I'd run out of battery. So what I did initially, if like me you've got lots of die cut packs, I just placed them all out, layered them on the front, got them where I liked, and then I went to take a picture of my camera so I would remember where I'd put in which spot. And then I just use a little bit of tape runner, not an awful lot, just to hold them in place. And then you can see now I'm making a bit of a pig's ear of it, but I'm trying to cut out a straight edge now with these. Again, not too much of a big deal because we can do that again later after we've applied some adhesive. So we want to make sure these die cuts are nice and secure and they don't come off. The reason I said only apply a bit of tape run is because, as you can see, some of them are laid underneath or over, so just putting a little dot in the middle helps you to manoeuvre your die cut pieces around each other. And now I'm going to use a different kind of Mod Podge. This is just a gloss one. Like I say, you can use any style you like, but this really is going to seal it. And again, obviously it goes on white, but it dries clear. So you can see I'm just applying it as I did before, putting lots on, and I do a couple of coats of this because it is layered with the die cuts. And I wasn't sure how the hologram effect would come out on some of these die cuts, but I'm really pleased to say it finished. When it dried clear, you could still get that hologramic effect on the paper cards, which was really good. And you can see how shiny that is with the gloss effect. And if you notice in the top as well, as I open that, some of it did seep through. So top tip is to put a bit of paper in between before you start. That's what I should have done. And you see now I'm applying my second layer. And like I say, you can dry this with a heat gun if you don't want to wait. But this was really quick, probably about 20 minutes to get that effect through. So those are 5 different options. Which one's your favourite? I love them all for very different reasons. I really like the funness of this. I think it'd be good as a gift for a younger person. I like to get messy with some of that mixed media. And although this didn't turn out the way I liked, I do still like the effect with the different texture on that. This one was super easy but really effective. I'll definitely be giving that a try again in the future. And definitely with this, to get through my washi tape, maybe more of a colourful one next time. But this has got to be my all-time favourite. Those little foxes with the sparkle on the fabric, definitely a hit for me. So I hope you like that. I hope you've been inspired to try covering your own notebooks If you do, any tips for me, please leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from them. And if you like what you see, please hit subscribe, and I'll be showing some more different techniques in the future. Thank you for watching.